So first thing first, we need to identify A, B, and C. So Crystal, what's A, B, and C? And what's the last one? I didn't hear you. 30. Negative 30. Good. All right. So the first thing we need to do is find the vertex. I feel like I'm a robot because I feel like I say the same thing every single day. Okay. So you're going to take opposite of B. So Crystal said that B was negative 16. And what's the opposite of negative 16? Positive 16. And that's divided by 2 parentheses A. So that'll be 16 divided by negative 4. Go ahead and type that in your calculators if you need to. What we are finding now is the axis of symmetry. 16 divided by negative 4. And who got negative 4? So we're going to put that right here. So now we need to find the y value, okay? Because what we're trying to find is the vertex. So to find your y value, we have y equals, and I'm just going to rewrite this equation and put parentheses where there is an x. So that'll give us negative 2 parentheses squared minus 16 parentheses minus 30. And then what did I say? What number goes inside of the parentheses? What's our axis of symmetry? Negative 4. So let's pick up our calculators and type that in. So I should know this by heart because this is my 3rd time doing it. But can somebody remind me, what do you get for y? 2. Raise your hand if you got 2. Okay, I'm going to go with it then. So this right here is the vertex. All right, so now I'm getting, before I get to that, which one of these is your y-intercept? Is it the A, the B, or the C? C. It's always C. And when we write that as an ordered pair, it is 0, C. Just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to make a sketch. Is anybody still copying any of this down? Okay, so I'm going to take this away. And I'm going to ask you all a question. And I want y'all to really think about it before you answer. Keeping in mind that this determines everything. Is this graph a smile, or don't say it out loud, I want everybody to think. A is negative 2. Is this graph a smile or a frown?
Frown.
Who says frown? Who says smile? Okay, so this is what I want you to ask yourself. Remember, A is attitude. When you have a negative attitude, are you usually smiling or frowning? Usually that means you're in a bad mood. So normally, most people don't smile when they're in a bad mood. You might sometimes, but generally, a negative attitude is associated with a frown. That's so important that you remember that, because on the test, There are 2 questions where we give you just the equation and you have to tell me if it's a max or a min. So because this is negative, that means that the graph is going to look like this. And the vertex is going to be at the top instead of at the bottom. So this graph has a maximum. All frowns have a maximum. If it's a hill, you have a hilltop. Jeremiah, I'm going to send you out with a pass in a minute with the phone.
At this time, can you please do a quick technology check of the students inside of your classroom to ensure they
How
are
you doing?
compliant with our
Thank you.
personal communication device expectations. Also, as a reminder to students, lunch is a space that you are required to be at on time. We are currently issuing tardies to students that are not on time to the cafeteria. So please make sure you use the transition time from your class to the cafeteria wisely. If you are late to lunch, you will receive a tardy violation. Thank you.
I'll get back to that later. Okay, so because this is a frown, okay, when you look at your arrows, so you see we have arrows pointing down. If arrows are pointing down, that means that it's going towards negative infinity. So my lowest y value is negative infinity. Okay, so my range, and remember, range is y. Which one of these numbers is y? 4 or negative 2? So cross this out because I don't use that number for range. Range is only the y values. Okay, it's only the y values. So my range will be from negative infinity to negative 2. Negative 2 gets a bracket. Now, everybody should get the domain right on our skills check. What's our domain? Negative infinity to positive infinity. So we're going to finish out graphing. I feel like you all are getting better. This is day 6 of graphing. So from last Tuesday to this Tuesday, I've seen a huge improvement. So we just have 2 more quadratics that we're going to graph in our notes, and then that'll be it. So we're going to do one of them before lunch. Then I'm going to have you start the second one, and then we'll finish that one after lunch. So let's take out our notes, and we should be on page 9.
Wait, did you already take grades for binders?
No, I'm behind, but I will though. I haven't forgotten. We talk about that later. We talked about it on the first day of school. We can revisit that later. All right, let's go to page 9. So everything in this class is a handout. So you're going to get a lot of handouts. So that's why I feel like a binder would be better. And I do have some extras. Okay, so let's look at this one. Let's get back to the lesson. So we got example 4. This says 1x squared minus 4. Does everybody see that? So this is the first time where there's just 2 numbers. So that means that one of our values is 0. So I'm just going to ask real quickly. Which one of these do you think will be 0?
C.
I knew you were going to say that because I'm psychic.
Wait, it's B.
It's B. So let me tell you why it's B. I'm psychic. I kind of set y'all up. I'm sorry. I knew that's what you were going to say. All right, so it's ax squared. This is how you write standard form. So I want you all to understand what this is because you probably don't understand what this means. So let's talk about it. So what this means is that any number in front of x squared is a. Any number that's only in front of an x is b. And any number by itself without a letter is c. So when you look here, do you see how this 4 doesn't have an x with it? It's just a 4, a negative 4. That means it's c. So in between these 2 terms is actually a 0. It's just not there because it's 0. Okay? But there is an invisible 0x in between. Would you agree that 0 multiplied by anything is 0? Yes.
So the V would be hidden, or not, there's a V, but it's just not there because they don't have a.
Right, because anything times 0 is 0. So they didn't put it because it's like, you know, it's 0. So let's go ahead and put our A, B, and C. 1, 0, -4. All right, I want everybody to find the axis of symmetry. 0 is the only thing that doesn't have an opposite. There is no opposite of 0. 0 is not positive or negative, it's just 0. So we really, I mean, you could put -0 or +0, but it doesn't change the fact that it's just 0. Yes, Aubrey?
So when it's like x squared minus 4, you always put a negative sign in front of it, if it's always a minus it.
Oh, you mean right here?
Yeah.
No, if this had a plus, then it would be a +4.
Okay, but I'm saying like every time you say subtract, you put a negative sign.
Right, there you go. Exactly. That's right. Yeah. Okay, so x equals, I'm getting hot all of a sudden. Opposite of b, which we agree that 0 is just 0. And that's divided by 2 times a, and a is 1. So I don't know if you all know this, but 0 divided by anything is 0. So that tells me that my axis of symmetry is x equals 0. That's my axis of symmetry. So I'm going to put 0 in the middle of our table. Put 0 here. And then we have 1, 2, -1, -2. Now, I'm not going to put that 0x in there because, again, 0 times anything is 0. So I'm only going to put x squared -4. So let's go ahead, pick up your calculators, and get your 5 y values. So go ahead and type those in, get your 5 y values. Is that tender? Yes.
On the bell work, when you just did the workspace part, you put 2 in front of the
X. Yeah, let's go back. So that was because this one had a 2. But when you look at this one, what's the number in front of the x squared? A 1. So you could put a 1 in front of every parentheses. Like that, it's not wrong if you wanted to go back in and put a 1 in front of everything. But the reason why I don't put a 1 is because 1 times anything doesn't change it. But you could technically put the 1. The only time you have to put it is if it's not a positive 1. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so only because I've done this 3 times, I do remember, kinda. This is 0. Both of these are 0. And then these are -3. And then your vertex should be 0, -4. So is that what you all got? All right, let's go ahead and graph it. Oh, it's already 11:01. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and graph it. I'm going to come over here and graph it. So -2, 0, -1 down 3. And just do your best to sketch it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so the lowest point on our graph is right here. And what do we call this? 0, -4. What would that be?
Your vertex.
The vertex. Okay, so I'm about to ask y'all a question. I'm scared though. I'm scared. Is that a minimum or a maximum? It's a minimum because it's the lowest point. We also know that it has a minimum because do you all see that do you see that the number I put here is positive? That's going to make it a smile, which means it has a minimum. All right, good. That wasn't bad. All right, last thing. Let me zoom in over here. Okay, so this is my x-axis right here, highlighted in green. Did I put any points on that green line? Yes. Where are the 2 points that I put on that green line? -2 and +2. So we call that our solutions. So x equals +2, x equals -2. Now, if it asks you for the x-intercepts, then you would have to write that as an ordered pair. And then our domain, all real numbers. Okay. So, does everyone see how this is my middle number? Are these numbers bigger than -4 or smaller than -4? Look at the number line. -4, bigger, because if you go to the right, it's bigger. So that means that the smallest number, the smallest y value, to be specific, right here, the smallest y value is -4, and it's going up towards infinity. So what I want you all to do for the last 4 minutes, and then you're going to pick up here when we come back from lunch, is start working on example 5. So start working on example 5, and then after lunch we will go through it.